I am not a man who's afraid to say when he's wrong because I'm wrong a lot. Like a lot of the times I'm wrong in honesty. Most of the time it's just a matter of like me saying dumb shit or just me spitting out whatever first thing comes to my mind. And obviously that's the worst thing you can do. That's literally the worst thing you can do. But but this time I was so unbelievably wrong. I was like embarrassingly wrong. And it's a matter of like me not knowing how the internet works. I just completely forgot, hey, the internet's working the way the internet fucking works because it's a matter of how is she still famous? Literally, how is shit still working out for her? And right now, I guess it's a weird point because she's on a hiatus because of like the rug pull that she pulled that she didn't pull or whatever. It was the craziest thing. But like, I want to go over what I said last time. Last time I said that by episode 4 or so on and so forth, that like it'll just go down in views because it'll be boring, whatever, and like nothing's gonna happen, because like the biggest thing about her is the fact that she's like with Pookie or whatever, and like that's like a huge thing for some reason because like we all care somehow or some reason, but it worked. It literally worked still to the point of like milking it for like literally 5 or 6 episodes still. Like that's so wild to me how that literally worked. And it's not even a matter of like, oh, like she milked it. It's a matter of just like she just wouldn't just not talk about it. You know what I mean? That's like the biggest thing about her. And at first I couldn't be mad. You know what I mean? Like she was like doing her thing and she was getting some really cool like what's it called, co-host, I guess you could say, cool, not cool, whatever you want to say. She was getting people with names. You know what I mean? They had status. They were people that people knew. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that's something that like a lot of people can't say about starting a podcast or this or that. And so it's impressive. It really was impressive because like it's a matter of like she was using all the right buzzwords, all the right this, all the right people, whatever, and it's like cool, that's I'm really happy for you. But it's just so funny how I was so wrong in the matter of like, oh, like it'll just get boring, people will stop watching it. But it's just a matter of like, wow, most of the people watching this are just like memeing or like I don't know because every time I look through the comments, I don't see a single positive comment or anything that goes with like, oh, I support you in this or she's so right, or like, actually engaging in the video. It's mostly people just like memeing about watching the podcast. And yeah, every once in a while I get like 1 or 2 people that are actually engaged in the content, but it's such a small number of people that are engaged in the content where it's like a matter of like that's so crazy to me how I just forget that people watch this literally to meme about watching it. And it's like so funny to me because like how could I forget that? How could I forget people love trolling? People love memeing, and I just could not get over that. Like I was planning on going back and watching at least a couple minutes of like each one and this and that, and just like see if I could find any points that are like, oh, you know what, she has a good point, or you know what, this is interesting. But it's not. It's the exact same podcast I was listening to like way back when it first came out, roughly, and nothing has changed. Literally nothing has changed, and it's still like the exact same fucking boredom of it. And it's so funny because like the guests that she has on, some of them are actually really interesting, and by some of them I mean like a very limited amount because like the rest of them I don't know, I don't know, I just can't just sit down and watch it. I literally fucking can't. And I was gonna judge it like very harshly, I guess you could say, or just judge it in a way that's like as it should be judged, but I just couldn't. I literally fucking couldn't. It's just so fucking boring. Like this one introducing Pookie, like he doesn't come out for like 15 minutes for the whole thing, is it? Or but the point is, it doesn't come out for a minute. I forgot exactly where it comes out, but it doesn't come out for a whole minute. And then it's just like, oh, what's your reaction to the fucking podcast? The same question she asked her grandma forever ago. And then when Jake Paul shows up, it's like literally towards the end of the entire fucking podcast. Literally an hour in. He's there for 10 minutes. And like that's like a big part of the actual fucking what's it called, of the thumbnail. Jake Paul's in it, but really he's there for 10 minutes. And the 10 minutes that he talks, like I tried watching it, and it's like he's talking to a child. He's literally talking like he's talking to a child, and I find that so amusing. Like that was the most amusing part of it. Not even what they said or what they talked about. It was literally just a matter of like him talking like, yeah, I guess, or cool, or like he was like it's like baby talking her, and it was so entertaining. Like I don't know, like and then Wiz Khalifa showed up. Wiz Khalifa was like the craziest name that I was not ready for to show up. That really was. Like I know Mark Cuban's there too, which is another thing I'm gonna bring up later. But Wiz Khalifa is actually a really fucking cool motherfucker. Like he's so far my favorite. And like I said, I've only seen a couple minutes just to like see what like what's going on or whatever. And he actually talks, and like I actually enjoy his like I guess you could say his commentary in some kind of way. But he's like the one guy who I can like look at this and be like, you know what, I am enjoying this podcast, though only because only because of what he talks about. That's really about it. And it's not even a matter of like the questions she's asking. Like, he's a real guy. He's a real cool dude, and he actually like gives actual advice and this and that. And it's pretty cool. And I fuck with him. I fuck with like the way Wiz Khalifa like did this little podcast thing. But he was the best part about it. Like, her as a host and her friends or whatever, I still find the fucking annoying. I find that so fucking annoying still. And funny enough, Mark Cuban was actually pretty entertaining for like a good couple minutes, and only when it comes to like actually talking about like things worth talking about. Because like a big thing about it as well is like Pookie, you know, as well with fucking Wiz Khalifa. Like, even though it says I showed my first song, he was giving her actual advice about her and Pookie and whatever and like whatever. But you know, it's just so funny because he gives actual advice every once in a while and talks about his life, which is pretty cool, honestly. But again, like, it all kind of circles around like, oh, she's so boring. She has nothing to talk about. Like, it's just, it's completely up to her guest to completely save the podcast, really. And you can make the argument that that's any podcast ever, but I just find it like, oh my god, like, I can't sit and watch it. I can't, like, every time she talks, it annoys me, and I hate that. I hate being a hater like that, but it's really what it is, honestly. And at the very beginning, I was being like, I was like saying, oh, you know, she's getting her money's worth, or she's making her money, but she's not scamming anyone. She's not doing anything that's like, you know, bad for people. You know what I mean? Like, she's just up there talking. Whether she's boring or not is up to you. Whether like you like her, you hate her, whatever. You know, it's literally a whatever moment because she's just out here making money the same way anybody would do if they had a chance to make that much money from YouTube. You know what I mean? And just doing that. And she was doing that thing about like saving dogs or whatever she was doing, and she even got like Mark Cuban to like talk about it and everything, which is pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I didn't like the podcast because I found it boring, I supported it. You know, like, you know, I will always support people making money in like a good, like, responsible way where it doesn't hurt anybody. I will always support that because, you know, what's wrong with that? And then like obviously the whole thing came out with a crypto coin, and to me that's one of the funniest things ever because that, like, I'm not gonna talk about it too much like in depth. This man right here, like Coffeezilla, he's the best man to ever explain this to anybody worth like explaining it to. And so if you really want to know about what she did, which I'm surprised if you haven't heard about what she did, like, go watch his video. Go watch his video because like he will just do a way better job than anybody that I know or even I will ever do. This man is a fucking genius, and all shout outs to him. But the point is, like, it turned out that the hate that I was giving for her, like, doing what she was doing, has become rightful now. I feel, like, okay hating on her now. Because it's not a matter of, like, oh, you know, she's making money a good way, whatever. No, she was literally scamming her fans. Like, she made, I think she made millions. I'm not even quite sure how much she made. But she made a lot of money from scamming her fans. And I find that so funny because it's not even a matter of, like, she scammed her fans. From what I've seen in the video that he uploaded and the explanation and everything, it seems like it's a matter of like these guys like saw her and were like, hey, there's a way to make this much money from crypto. Just trust us and go with everything we say and sign these papers. She was like, okay, bet. And she signed the papers and she made a shit ton of money from scamming her fans without even her knowing it. That's what it seems like. But the fact is, she did it. You know what I mean? As much as the benefit of a doubt that I want to give her, or as much like, oh, you know, it wasn't that bad, this and that. No, it was pretty bad. And like, as dumb as she was, like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, she has a right to be hated on now, and I am so happy about that. I really am, because I felt bad. I really felt bad, but not anymore. I don't give a shit anymore. So yeah, I was completely wrong about what's called Haley Welch. I was completely wrong. I was saying, oh, it's boring, but whatever. She's making money. That's really good, or whatever. Or like, oh, you know, like she's gonna be fine. Like, she seems like just like a genuine person, just doing a podcast, and whether it's boring or not, you know, like, people enjoy it, so go enjoy it. And like, oh, people hate on her for no reason or this and that. Like, I was so wrong. I was so completely wrong, honestly. And to me, the funniest thing is the way she ended the phone call, or like the social space on X, like explaining the crypto scam. To me, that's the funniest thing about this entire situation. It really is, and I love that so much. And it's just like, it's funny. It's funny how the internet turns out to be like a way of like, oh, here's corruption, go for it. Here's a bunch of free money with no cost to you. And it did cost her, honestly, because like I said, I think she knows what's happening because, like I said, she's on a hiatus for 2 weeks from all social media, from what I've seen. And so, you know, I'm curious to see how she comes back, honestly, because I'm pretty sure this is a situation where if she ignores it, literally nothing will happen. She's already a meme. She's already people just like she walks down the hall of school and people just laugh at her and she just smiles and waves as if like they're laughing with her. It's like a matter of like I mean, like she can ignore it and nothing will change for her. Like she's already not like completely liked. So I'm just like curious to see how she gets out of this. But in her famous words,
So I'm sort of curious, like, not for the token price itself, but just in terms of the fact that there's fees that are being generated, there's an actual like
Hey
source of
guys,
income.
I hate to interrupt you, Nick. Hello there. But
Yeah.
anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
I love that. I love the way that ended. Someone was asking an actual question, and she was like, "Well, it's time to hit the hay." You know, I don't really give a shit about what happened. I don't give a shit about any of this. You know, I made a shit ton of money, so goodbye. And so yeah, I mean, I was wrong, and it's so funny how wrong I was. I just could not help myself but to just finally realize, like, talk about how wrong I was. I mean, yeah, that's about it. Take care.